The U.S. has condemned Iran's seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Oman and called for the release of the vessel and crew. Now, the White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said that there was no excuse for the seizure. And the seizure comes as a response to the U.S. confiscation of the same vessel last year over a name change. And back then, Iran had warned the U.S. that it will not go unanswered. And the seizure comes at the heels of increased Iran-backed Houthi hostility in the Red Sea shipping route. Now, the aggression by the rebel group has forced many countries to either suspend their operations through the route or use an alternative route, which is longer, that is around South Africa. And to discuss this further in detail, we are joined by Dr. Malcolm Davis. He's a senior analyst in defense strategy and capability at Australian Strategic Policy Institute. Welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Davis. Always a pleasure having you and join our discussion.
Thank you for having me.
I'll begin with my first question. Why would Iran do this?
Look, I think you need to see Iran's actions as part of a broader campaign across the entire Middle Eastern region. So we've had the Houthis obviously launching attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea, and now the US and the UK have struck back at the Houthis this morning. The Houthis are directly supported by Iran. The Iranians are also supporting radical Islamist and Palestinian groups in Iraq and Syria, and they support Hamas and Hezbollah. And so Iran now is seeking to extend its role in the region by taking this tanker in the Gulf of Oman. And I think that it's just indicative of a broad Iranian campaign to destabilize the entire Middle East. If they can create that strategic vacuum, that then creates an opportunity for them to essentially assert hegemony across the entire region.
And there's already escalation in hostility by Houthis in the Red Sea. Now, do you see this seizure by Iran as intensifying the situation in the Red Sea? I mean, what message does it send out to the US especially?
I mean, I think it plays into it in the sense that the US and the UK have now struck at Houthi forces today. The US and the UK quite correctly, I think, are expecting retaliation by the Houthis, but now you have this Iranian development with the Iranians intricately connected in with the Houthis in every respect. I think that the US and the UK are probably ready for Iran to do other provocations in the region, maybe seize additional ships, maybe try to place mines, maybe try to threaten either commercial shipping or US Navy vessels or Royal Navy vessels in the region. So I think that, once again, this goes back to Iran's determination to destabilize the region, to undermine strategic stability so that it can create a more a suitable environment for it to seize a greater influence in the region.
Yes, and we've already right now just talked about how the situation has been tensed in the Red Sea, and now in a retaliatory attack against Yemen's Houthis, US and the UK, as you mentioned, they've started launching targeted strikes against them. I mean, this is clearly no more confined to the regional territories of Israel and Palestine. This is the spillover that was speculated for long. What happens next?
Well, I think it's important to distinguish the Houthi attacks on shipping from the war in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. I mean, the Houthis are claiming that they're doing this in support of Hamas and the Palestinians in Gaza, but in actual fact, they're doing it at the behest of the Iranians. So the spillover, as you say, is likely to occur as a result of Iranian and Houthi retaliation against US and UK military strikes today. So it's not so much about what Israel is doing in Gaza, it's about what Iran is doing in the region.
And the UN Security Council passed a resolution on Wednesday, and they demanded an immediate end to these Houthi attacks. Now, how these attacks, especially in the Red Sea, a shipping route that connects Europe and Asia and which accounts for 15% of world's shipping traffic, how is it going to de-escalate?
But it may not. It may escalate. That's the point. I think it may get worse before it gets better, and ultimately we may have to come down to a situation where the only way to de-escalate it is to defeat Iran militarily. We can't get in on the ground. That's not going to happen. But we certainly can attack Iranian and Houthi forces using the sorts of weapons you've seen in action today, aircraft-delivered precision-guided munitions, long-range strike capabilities such as Tomahawk land attack missiles, those sorts of capabilities designed to remove and reduce and degrade Iranian and Houthi military capabilities to the point whereby Tehran and the Houthis cannot impose their will on the region.
It only seems as if this is going to get even more complicated. But thank you so much, Dr. Davis, for joining us and giving your time. Really appreciate you having us, on this discussion. Thanks for your joining us, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.